Welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, the only show that provides you with the best insight and information to everything Franklin County sports. And now here's your host, Bobby C.
Hello and welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. Oh, we're so glad you made it here today. There's a lot of fun excitement that happened this past week in sports. By the way, the good news is that we're going to be able to run down the teams that are in the playoffs and the teams that are on the bubble by the end of our show. Want to say a big thank you to our wonderful production crew here today, Philippe Simone, also Johnny Meisner and Allie Murphy. Also, we would like to say a big thank you that goes out to now our 4 places that are carrying this show each week. Want to say a big thank you to, of course, our crew right here at GCTV. Also, we have the FCAT down in South Deerfield. We're on Montague Community Television over there in Turners Falls. And now we've just added Berniston Northfield. It is Berniston Northfield Community Television over there in the Berniston Northfield area. And that's great because that means that the folks that are big fans of Pioneer will be able to now enjoy the show. Want to say a big thank you to our underwriters here today, the 4 Leaf Clover Restaurant in Berniston, Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield, Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield, and by Hubie's Tavern and Restaurant, Avenue A in Turners Falls. Well, why don't we get things started here today with another edition of the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Last Monday, it all got started. It was a field hockey matchup between Pioneer and the Franklin County Tech. And it was really the Monday Blues, according to the head coach of Pioneer. Yes, Sally Gilliland said that she and her team definitely were going through the Monday Blues. They ended up with a 3-1 win over the Franklin County Tech, but she said they were definitely out of sync. But bottom line is they did pick up that 3-1 victory. She literally had to call a timeout during the first half of this match and literally had to sit down with her team and say, we got to start playing the way we know how to play. Well, they ended up responding to their coach and they picked up the 3-1 victory. Just want to let you know that it turned out to be a pretty nice day for their goalie, Boleno. I'll tell you right now, the goalie for Boleno for the Eagles, she did a really nice job with 13 saves. For the Tech school, and then Shaw ended up just knocking away 2 shots for Pioneer. So she ended up having a lot easier day than Boleno did for the Tech school. But turned out to be a pretty nice day as they were able to pick up the victory, even though they did have the Monday Blues, and a very important win for that Pioneer team because they are hoping to get into postseason. Frontier not caught looking ahead as they ended up last Monday with a nice victory. They end up winning a 4-0 win for them as they knocked off West Springfield. Olivia Vasilio ended up netting a pair of goals, and the visiting Redhawks handled their business well and picked up the 4-0 win, and that was a big win for them because they are now the league champions for their division. And of course, we know they are going to postseason play. The one thing that we could say is that later they end up having a big game that they're going to have against Greenfield. We'll get to that in just a moment. But that was a big win for them on the Monday to not look into that Greenfield game and to concentrate on the business at hand. And that's exactly what Frontier did to be able to get that 4-0 victory over West Springfield. Well, Frontier, they had a great matchup against Central. Great game between both teams, and they fell. A tough one for the Frontier boys. They got beat last Monday 1-0. Well, there was a few touches that they were hoping to be able to capitalize on, but it turned out that it wasn't enough, and Frontier came up short. Also, we want you to let you know that the Greenfield volleyball team was on the road on Monday, and they ended up getting beat by Sabas. It was 3-0. They lost game number 1, 25-14, game 2, 25-14, and then they suffered the third one, 25-11. Corianne Callahan ended up serving very aggressively in the loss, but it turned out to be a tough one as they ended up getting beat in this one. So a tough one for Greenfield. Want to let you know that on Tuesday, there was a big game for a woman by the name of Emma Savoy. She has been so solid for what she has been able to do as that star player for Greenfield High School's girls soccer team. Now, she is the girl who left Mahar and ended up joining the Greenfield squad this year. She's only a sophomore, and boy, she has really put the offense together for the Green Wave, and their girls program is on fire this year. And back on Tuesday, they picked up a 4-0 victory over Smith Vocational. And Savoy, well, she ended up with 3 of those 4 goals. She has just been on fire this season. And the one thing that Tina Riddell will say is that if she stayed at Mahar, boy, she would have been able to really just sort of blend in with the program that they have, because Mahar girls have a really good soccer program. But with her being able to come to Greenfield, she has been a real standout for them. But also, she's been a great leader to be able to lead this group of youngsters at Greenfield High School. And really, she has just been able to really get these girls rejuvenated. You know, last year they made the playoffs for the first time after 15 years. Well, they're continuing their great hot play. 10-2 as of last Tuesday with that 4-0 win over Smith Vocational. And not only that, but they're undefeated in league play. Really, Greenfield controlled the game really from start to finish, and it turned out to be a solid day for them. But Savoy ends up with 3 of the 4 goals for the Wave. You know, the one thing that we like to say is that this game has been a great learning curve for them, because sometimes when you play a team that you're supposed to win, you can get a little slow, or you can play not with a lot of intensity. Well, Coach Tina Riddell said that the girls came out, they really came out with a spark. And I think what it is right now is when you're really trying to fight this time of year, you're fighting for a seed. What you're looking for is you're looking for a high seed. This way you can try to be able to get a home game. That's what you want. You want to get a home game for your home team. So what you have to do is you got to be able to continue to win. You got to be able to impress. You got to be able to show the committee that you are the legit record that you have. So right now, Greenfield is sitting at 10-2, 8-0 in league play. That's a good resume. And they're hoping for a nice home game to start off the tournament. And hopefully the Wave will continue to play this great hot way that they've been playing, because right now they could make a huge run in the Division III tournament. Well, the Hawks ended up taking on the Green Wave in field hockey. That's right. And what happened was Frontier picked up the 2-0 win, and they ended up completing the season sweep. Red Hawks sitting hot right now at 11-2 as of last Tuesday, 6-0 in league play. You know, the last 3 times that they have taken on Greenfield before this season, the Frontier Redhawks really struggled. Got to remember, the hardest part for them were losing the Western Mass Division II finals against Greenfield. But this year, things are looking a lot better for Frontier's chances against the Wave. But you got to remember now, the Wave lost a lot of players that they had last year that were big all-stars. They had Sam Smith. They also had Reagan Hickey. They also had Audrey Brusciano. They had Olivia Joy. I mean, they had kids that were able to get things done over there. It's a lot of a younger group this year, and Coach there has done an amazing job with these ladies. You know, being able to be in the position that Greenfield is in right now, including some injuries that have happened as well. It was really sweet to be able to see how well the Green Wave has been able to respond this season. Yes, they've had some breakdowns, but that's what happens when you have a younger squad. But for Coach there, she has really done an excellent job being able to coach this young group this year. And the future definitely looks bright for field hockey in Greenfield. This year, though, they definitely have a crew that has been able to get it done down in South Deerfield under Coach Missy Mahar. And I'll tell you right now, the Red Hawks, the ladies, are doing an excellent job this year, and they are in control getting ready for tournament play. Well, I can tell you that Olivia Vasilio and Lily Roach, well, they were the ones that were able to score those 2 goals. And between those 2 ladies scoring, they picked up the 2-0 win over Greenfield. Also, Ainsley Flynn has done a really good job in the net for Greenfield this year. She had 3 saves for the Wave. Skylar Berniski ended up with 6 stops for the Red Hawks. And she also was able to pick up the shutout. Well, Coach Chadwick, he's been able to get it done up there on the hill. And back last Tuesday, his Mohawk team wins their 24th league title under Coach Chadwick. He is legit, man. You know, anyone who wants to say anything about Joe Chadwick, he is the man. I mean, this guy is the #1 winningest coach of any sport in the state of Massachusetts all time. Let me say that again. The winningest all-time coach of any sport in the state of Massachusetts. That's right. It's Joe Chadwick, the coach of cross country and track and field up at Mohawk Trail Regional High School. Well, a big congratulations goes out to them on picking up their 24th league championship. Mohawk had finished 8 of the top 10 that made it in for his team. That's how good this group is in girls cross country. The Warriors ended up beating Smith Vocational 15-50. They beat Hamden Charter School 15-50. And that's all it really took in that meet, was them to be able to continue their winning ways. I'll tell you right now, they have been hot this season, and congratulations to Joe Chadwick and his crew up there on the hill in good old Bucktown. Frontier ends up winning against Palmer 15-50. They also beat Westfield Tech 15-50, as their girls team had top 10 finishers that really got things done. Matter of fact, Abigail Howard and Aaliyah Gump ended up having a nice night. Also, Adrian Joseph, as well as Sasha Mallow and Aaliyah Vici, ended up finishing in the top 5 for Frontier. I will say that the boys, it was Mohawk boys with a win 15-50 over Smith Voc. They also ended up just beating the Hampton Charter School 28-29. Wow, that 1 point. But Dennis Simmons, he has been hot all year long for the Mohawk boys. He was the overall winner with a time of 18 minutes and 52 seconds in that wonderful meet there between the 3 teams. Quinton Romer, also Sean O'Day, they finished 4th and 5th, respectfully. Frontier, well, their boys team picked up a win, 25-33 over Palmer. They also won 19-44 over Mahar. And it turned out to be a big win for them because they are on fire this year. Garrick Brinda, wow, he had another great day for him. He ended up placing 3rd, and he had a time of 15 minutes and 13 seconds. Patrick Boyden ended up placing 5th for the Red Hawks. He ended up with a time of 16 minutes and 21 seconds. Girls soccer, Franklin County Tech girls, they came back from a 1-goal deficit at halftime, and they beat St. Mary's. Nice job for them. Congratulations goes out to the ladies as they pick up a 2-1 win. And a nice job done by the ladies over there at the Tech School on picking up that soccer victory. Frontier girls picked up a win over Athol. I can tell you that it turned out to be a really good game. Final score was 1-0. Jessica Risley scored a second-half goal for the Red Hawks, and that was one that mattered. And also Green ended up having 5 saves for the shutout for Frontier. Pioneer Valley girls end up picking up a 3-1 victory last Tuesday over Pope Francis. Nice win for them. And Azamina Sechajanin and Paige Loftman, as well as Annie Browning, all scored for the Panthers on the road to pick up the victory. Also, there were assists that were made by Steph Scoville, also by Anna Picard. In the net, she picked up 8 saves for Pioneer. In boys soccer, this kid has been on fire this year for the Franklin County Tech team. His name is Sam Leshtour. He ended up with 2 goals, and the Franklin County Tech team picked up a 5-0 win over Commerce last Tuesday. The Eagles scored 4 times in the first half. It was a very lopsided affair, honestly, but nice job done by this kid. He has really been on fire all year long for this Tech team. East Hampton ends up with an easy win over Pioneer. Final score was 5-0. Another tough day for the Panthers, as Coach Frazier pretty much laid it out, saying that we played them tight in the first half, but giving up a goal in the final seconds of the first half definitely hurt us. And then it got a little tougher as they ended up with 4 goals in the second half to pick up the 5-0 win. East Hampton over Pioneer in boys soccer. In field hockey, it was the Mohawk Trail field hockey team losing to Smith Academy. Tough loss for them, as that was a hurting one for them because they are sort of right now a bubble team on whether they're going to be able to make tournament or not. We'll talk about where we're at with all these teams. I do have an update that we'll give you by the end of the show. In volleyball on Tuesday, Dabney Rollins and Turners, well, they picked up a nice victory over East Hampton. They ended up winning Game 1 25-21. They win Game 2 25-17. Then they lose Game 3 20-25, and then they win Game 4 25-23. So a really nice win for them. Haley Bogus ends up with 19 assists for the Thunder, adding 2 kills and 6 aces. Also, Madison Lamatanian pitched in with 5 kills. Also, great defense by Lindsay Whiteman as well with 8 digs. And Dabney Rollins was solid for her team in picking up another victory. Pioneer Valley Christian School ends up beating the Franklin County Tech. That was in girls volleyball. Final was 3-1. And I do have the scores on this one. Game 1 goes to Pioneer Valley Christian School, 25-14. Game 2, 25-12. Then the Tech School wins. They end up winning that one 25-20. And then the Christian School wins Game 4, 25-22. Kelly Trudeau ends up with 5 aces, 4 digs, and a kill for the Tech. Also, Mackenzie Martell ended up pacing the defense with 7 digs, while Lillian Poirier ends up with 6 aces, 7 digs, and 4 assists in the loss for the Tech School. Well, the Green Wave ends up picking up a win over the Falcons of Smith Academy. They end up winning big. Final score was 20-4. And nice job right there as Greenfield working hard this year, hoping to be able to do well in the tournament. Well, the Green Wave ends up cruising with that big win. I can tell you right now that it was a game that they really needed. Ryan Cody earned 2 points at the number 1 spot with a low of 37. Gabriel Roach ended up earning 3.5 points for Greenfield at number 2 with a 44. Jay Cody earned another 3 points with a score at number 3 at 48. Dylan Archer also had a 44, giving the Green Wave 4 points at number 4. Chris Bostrom and Jacob Frank, they didn't face opponents, but they ended up with a 57, and also Frank shooting a 37. He only ended up with shooting 6 holes, but it really was an opportunity for the Wave to pick up yet another victory in golf. Frontier continues their winning ways. They end up beating Chicopee 15-9. Mike Corduff earned the medalist honors with a 38 at number 1. And the Red Hawks came away with a tight victory over at the Chicopee Country Club. Gunnar Moore earned 4 points for Frontier at number 2 with a 40. Rowan Blair ended up with a 47 at number 4. Also, a nice job for his team, and Porter Clancy came away with 2.5 points in the number 3 match. He ended up with a 47. So there you go. That wraps up our Tuesday of sports, and I hope things are going well for you. And welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. Lots to talk about this week. You know, it's funny because last week we were really short with a lot of our sports because of the rain, but this past week turned out to be a pretty good weather week. Boy, the weather was beautiful, and boy, if you haven't had a chance to really see how beautiful our foliage is in the area, well, you need to take your glasses off and maybe the shades that you usually wear as well, because when you take a look at how beautiful our area has been foliage-wise, what a year it has been. It's also been a fun year for fall sports here in Franklin County, and that's why we do this for you right here on the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Want to say a big thank you to our underwriters here today, the 4-Leaf Clover Restaurant in Berniston, also Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield, Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield, and by Hubie's Tavern and Restaurant, Avenue A in Turners Falls. Philippe Simone, John Meisner, also Allie Murphy, yeah, they get it done. Our production crew is pretty sweet. Remember, we're now available on 4 TV stations every week. We're now in Berniston and in Northfield. It is what we like to call the Berniston Northfield Community television network that's out there in good old Berniston and Northfield. We also have GCTV in Greenfield, which is where we do our show every week. We also have the FCAT down in South Deerfield and Montague Community Television in Turners Falls. Off to Wednesday we go. Frontier in pursuit of, yes, a perfect season. Well, guess what, folks? Amherst High School ends up beating Frontier in golf. Excuse me. And they ended up losing 14-10 in the Battle of Heavyweights. And they ended up with their first loss of the year. Kyle Maynard ended up with the low round for the day of Frontier with a 39. That was in the number 2 spot. He also picked up 3.5 points for his team. Brian Bauman ended up with 3 points in the match at number 5, shooting a 47. Porter Clancy ends up with 2.5 points, followed by a nice round by Mikey Kordoff, Gabe Kaczynski, Rowan Blair. They round out the guys that ended up golfing for Frontier. They took it on the chin. Tough one. First loss of the year, 14-10 to Amherst. Well, on Wednesday, it was a slight day because of the rain on Wednesday, but there was an opportunity for a volleyball match where the Hawks picked up their 10th win of the season and the Red Hawks pick up a nice win over Chicopee Comp, something that they really needed. And I'll tell you, Olivia Dean was on fire. How about a match-high 17 kills for Frontier? They win Game 1, 25-16. Game 2, 25-23. They lose Game 4, 19-25, and then they end up picking up the last win, 25-15. Nice job right there at Goodnoe Gymnasium as Frontier, with that win on Wednesday, improved their record to 10-5. They received 11 kills from Jalen Sullivan to help pace the offensive attack. What about the setters who have done a nice job this year, including Olivia Rosewarne and Sydney Scanlon? They combined for 32 assists in that match. Also, Evans ended up with 4 aces. Dean and Eisler end up with a couple of aces apiece too, as they end up picking up a big win. Belchertown ends up knocking off Mohawk Trail Regional in volleyball. The final was 3-0. Game 1 was 25-20. Game 2 was 25-21. And Game 3 was 25-16. Octava Crawford ends up with 5 kills, 4 digs, and 3 aces for Mohawk. Also, Claire Wesolowski ends up dishing out 6 assists to go with 4 digs. Cassidy Upton ended up with 2 kills, 8 digs, and 3 aces. Hannah Plesner ends up with 3 kills, 5 digs, and 3 aces. Also, Nola Bloomer ends up with a kill and an assist. Alex Lilly ends up with 1 assist and 2 aces. Ellie Patnode gets 3 kills, 2 digs, and Chloe Brothers ends up with 2 digs and 1 ace. They all made contributions, even though they got beat. A tough one for Mohawk. They get beat by Belchertown again in volleyball, 3-0 on Wednesday. Well, in field hockey, turned out to be a nice win that was needed for the girls over at Turners Falls. And with that, the Thunder are going to postseason play. That's right. Lindsay Davenport ended up with a pair of goals, and Turners ends up with a 3-1 victory over Holyoke. Nice job done by them. Bryn Tila ended up assisting on both of Davenport's goals, and it turned out to be a nice win that was definitely needed in this one. By the way, Hannah Marhefka, she ended up with an insurance goal in the second half, as the Thunder are looking good this season, and they will be going to postseason play. Well, on a rainy day that was on Wednesday, Pioneer picked up a 1-0 victory over Athol. Pioneer needed that victory because they're on the verge right now of postseason play. And it turned out to be a nice shutout for them. Congratulations goes out to them on picking up the win. It was a goal by Jenny Fuller and assisted by Avery Sargent. Well, on Thursday of last week, it wasn't flashy, but the Turners Falls field hockey team ended up with a 0-0 tie against Southwick. But that's good because it's still points that are added in. Well, as the old coach says, Becky Dame says, it wasn't pretty, but it was still a win, even though it was a draw. People realize that, what does that mean? It doesn't sound correct. I said, yes, it does. It sounds correct because if you get a tie, you get points. If you get a loss, you get no points. If you get a win, you get 2 points. So it did count as an extra point added to their record, and that was a big help for the Thunder. Right now, as of Thursday, they sit at 7-4-4 overall and 4-2-1 in league play. Now, the Rams over there at Southwick, just to let you know how good they are, they're 8-5-1 on the year, and they're 5-2-1 in division play. Also, want you to know that the Thunder ended up getting beat by them earlier in the year, 3-1, but held them this time to a 0-0 tie. Haley Green ended up having a nice day in the net. Congratulations to Haley. How about 11 saves? That is huge. And it was also senior day. And there's only one senior on this Thunder team, and she is the girl who is part of our crew here today in Allie Murphy. So, Allie, congratulations. Senior day, the one senior that gets a little bit of credit. So good job to Allie. We love her here, and we wish nothing but the best of her. And they have a lot of talent that'll be coming back next year. Allie is one of the leaders on this program. The cool thing is that her team is going to postseason play. And what more excitement is that for any senior? And we want to say congratulations going out to the Thunder as their field hockey program will continue on after the regular season into the playoffs. And that will be officially in the Division II tournament. All right, as we continue on with play on Thursday, it was a big day as Frontier ends up taking on South Hadley. And it turned out to be a couple of big goals by Emily DeMeo. She ended up with a couple of goals. Frontier girls, they captured the outright championship in the division with a 2-2 tie against South Hadley. How about this for a record? 11-2-1 and 6-0-1 in league play. Undefeated action, and it helped out big for this team because they are going to get a very high seed in the upcoming tournament. Now, South Hadley's no slouches themselves, 8-5-1 overall and 3-3-1 in league play. DeMeo's first goal, well, that was assisted by Olivia Vasilio, so that was a big help. And by the way, I want you to know that Skylar Berniski ended up with 7 saves for the Redhawks in the net. Holyoke picks up a 1-0 win. That was in field hockey last week on Thursday. Final was 1-0. So another tough loss for the girls up on the hill. In boys soccer, Greenfield and Pioneer, they ended up with a 0-0 tie. Pioneer had 17 shots, but only 6 went on goal. Their accuracy was definitely off in this one, and really it turned out to be a tough one for them as they had opportunities to be able to beat Greenfield, but it ended up being a 0-0 draw. Chicopee Comp ends up beating Frontier as the boys over there in boys soccer at Frontier really struggled this season. They are 4-7-2, and they haven't won a game in league play at all this season. The lone goal was Connor Wakus. He ended up scoring on an assist from Avery Tuttle. But Nick Jarvis ends up with a couple of saves for the Redhawks. They get beat by Chicopee Comp 2-1. In girls soccer, Greenfield continues their winning ways. They pick up an 8-0 win over Mohawk. Wow, and what a day for their goalkeeper, Dina Samaki. That's right, the senior made 3 saves in the first half. Greenfield had a 4-0 lead at intermission. She moved up to the forward spot, and guess what? She had an opportunity to be able to score a goal. That's right, the goalkeeper comes out of the net, gets out there on the field, and she even scores a goal herself. Turned out to be pretty sweet. Emma Savoy ends up with a couple of goals and 2 assists. Caitlin Lavoie ended up with a pair of goals. Also, looks like Kesa Kinsmith and Victoria Marin end up scoring a goal as well. Hey, how sweet is that? And that girl that was doing the net work and worked hard for Mohawk, Lillian Van Vliet. That's right, Lillian Van Vliet ends up with 23 saves for Mohawk. Talk about a game that was dominated by the Wave. They pick up the 8-0 win. But Lillian, you get a ton of credit. 23 saves. That means that if you do the math, with the 8 goals and the 23 saves, 31 shots on net by the Wave in this one. Their girls program continues their hot play here in our area. In girls volleyball, it was Sabas with a 3-0 win over Mohawk. I could tell you that Nola Bloomer ended up with a dig and 6 aces. Cassidy Upton with a kill, 6 digs and an ace, but it wasn't enough as the Bulldogs pick up the win. They end up winning set 1, 25-4. Game 2 was 25-18. Game 3 was 25-18. Octavia Crawford ends up with 2 assists and a kill, as well as a dig and 2 aces. Claire Wazaleski and Chloe Brothers ended up with 3 digs. Alex Lilly had a kill and 4 digs for the Warriors. Southwick ends up picking up a 3-0 victory over the Franklin County Tech. And here's how this one worked out. It was a tough one. Game 1, 25-17, Southwick. Game 2, 25-22. And then ends up getting all the rest. It was just a tough one as the Tech School girls, 6-10, 4-5 in the Metro. They were led by Renee Reed with an ace, 6 digs, 2 kills, and 4 assists. Kelly Trudeau ends up with 13 digs, 4 kills for the Eagles. And what about Mackenzie Martell? She has really come on strong here this year. She ended up with 6 digs for the Tech School. You know, you've been reading a lot about good old Kelly Trudeau over the last few years in volleyball. Just another tough one for them as the ladies get beat by Southwick 3-1. Well, in boys soccer, the Franklin County Tech team, they're still hanging in there. They really are. They're jockeying for a playoff spot. I could tell you, though, they ended up losing a very tough one as they get beat 1-0 in a tough game against a team that right now is working at trying to get into postseason play with the Hampton Charter School. I can tell you right now that the visiting Wolves, they ended up at 7-1 in their league play, so they're in. They're now 8-6-2 on the year as well. But the one thing that Coach Richardson said is that we played a quality program, and it really sort of tells us where we stand right now. And to only lose 1-0 against a team that is a good club that is going to postseason play says a lot about where we are. So don't worry, nothing's out yet because the Tech, as of Thursday, 7-5-2, 3-1-2 in league play. They definitely have the opportunity to make the upcoming tournament. Well, on Friday, it was all about the gridiron, as it always is on Friday Night Football. And we want to welcome you to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. We get together with you every week right here on GCTV, the FCAT over there in good old South Deerfield, Montague Community Television in Turners Falls, and now we are on over there in Berniston and Northfield at Berniston Northfield Community Television. Don't forget, we also post our show also on Facebook for you as well. So if you go to Bobby C Campbell, you will be able to see our show also on Facebook too. This has worked out really well for a lot of kids. I've talked to a lot of the kids that have been able to literally get our show right there on their phones to be able to check out this show each and every week. John Meisner, Philippe Simone, Allie Murphy, they get it done as our production crew. And boy, it's so nice to be able to get together and talk about the great accomplishments that these kids have had. Friday Night Football, the gridiron. Let's talk about a matchup that I think a lot of people thought was going to be a lot closer on Friday night, and that was the game between Marhar and Greenfield. Final score was 28-8. The Senators picking up a huge win, and a win it was. And Coach Woodward, you know, when you talk to Coach Woodward over there at good old Marhar, he'll tell you that we made some great plays. And that's exactly what we needed to do to pick up a win against this Green Wave team. The Green Wave started off with Jake Sack at quarterback, and then he ended up moving into a running back position. That's when Drew Conant be able to make some opportunities and some plays for them. But then eventually Sack ended up moving back into the quarterback position, and then he ended up getting hurt in the second quarter. You know, it wasn't a very good game for the Wave, and there was a lot of things that went wrong in that one that was not happy. It wasn't a happy day for their head coach in Coach Kacheski. Normally, Coach Kacheski always takes time out to be able to talk to the media after the game, and he honestly declined comment after the game in this one. So I think it must have been a very frustrating day for the Wave as they ended up getting beat. Can tell you that Jared Hart, he rushed for 73 yards on 13 carries, also added a 41-yard kickoff return. Shane Kilgore ended up with 35 yards in 10 carries for the Wave as they end up getting beat in this one. Well, it turned out to be a big day for Sean Davenport, but it wasn't enough as Mohawk ends up getting beat against a very good, and let me say this again, a very good Ware football team. They have a solid program, and it was a close one between them and Mohawk. Final score was only 28-16. I mean, that is a good game. Ware right now, they're 4-0 in league play, 5-1 overall. The Warriors started off the season at 3-0, and right now, they are at 3-3. They have lost 3 games in a row. Sean Davenport, though, how about this? 11 of 25 attempts, ends up with 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both of those scores were by Jaden Whiting, who ended up having a solid day. The senior hauled in 4 catches for 113 yards for Mohawk in the loss. So a nice job by Sean. Nice job right there by Jaden Whiting. Also, Evan Shippey ended up with 13 carries. He ends up with 57 yards. He also had a couple receptions as well, and they were both for 8 yards. Also, we could tell you that Cam Lococo, Liam Driscoll, they also had receptions in this one too. The Warriors will take the week off before they get ready to take on another tough team. They got to take on Drury, so it doesn't get any easier for them. And remember, they still got to play Frontier this year, too, the night before Thanksgiving. So things are not getting easier for that team up there in Buckland after a 3-0 start. Been a little bit of a tough skid for this Mohawk and Turner's combo, but I'm very proud of these kids on the year that they have had. Well, the matchup between 2 of the top teams with Marhar and Frontier in girls soccer. Final score, 0-0. That's right, folks. It was a 0-0 tie between 2 of the powerhouses. Well, the Pioneer girls picked up a needed win. They end up beating the Franklin County Tech girls in soccer. And Alina Sesajanin and also Taylor Sedlowski ended up with goals, and they end up with a big win. Allison Unitas and also Azamina Sesajanin end up recording assists for the Panthers, who compiled 34 shots on net. Wow. Emily Merritt was very busy. She ended up doing an excellent job for the Tech Eagles in the net. Well, in girls volleyball, nice win for the Franklin County Tech girls over Duggan. They end up winning 3-1. So congratulations goes out to them. You know what? These girls from the Tech school, they're in the hunt right now. They have an opportunity to make postseason play. It was a very big day for Kelly Trudeau. She ended up with 7 aces, 4 digs, a kill for the Franklin County Tech school. And right now, they're 7-10 on the season. They need to win their final 3 matches if they want a chance to go to postseason play. I've been talking about this girl all season long besides Kelly Trudeau. Mackenzie Martell ends up with an ace, 5 digs, 2 kills, 5 assists for the Eagles. Also, Emily Ryan, she's also done very well this year too, chipping in with 3 aces and 5 kills for the Tech. So the Tech are hanging in there with an opportunity to be able to hopefully get into postseason play. Lennox ends up picking up a 3-2 win over the Turners Falls Thunder in volleyball. Haley Bogus recorded 6 assists, 4 aces, and a kill for Turners Falls, but the Thunder lost a heartbreaker at home to Lennox. They ended up losing a close match, 3-2. Dabney Rollins ended up filling the stat sheet for Turners Falls. How about this? 14 kills, along with an ace, 4 digs, and a block. Also, Madison Lamatanian ends up with 6 aces, 3 digs, and 4 kills in the loss. Remember, she is so young. She is one of the young talents on this Thunder squad. Westfield ends up beating Frontier. It was a tough one for the Lady Redhawks in another battle against one of the upper teams in the area, and they end up losing 3-0. I'll tell you, Olivia Dean has been solid this year. How about 20 kills as well as 12 digs for Frontier? They ended up falling. They end up losing Game 1, 30-28, Game 2, 25-18, and Game 3, 25-22. Olivia Rosewarne ends up with 20 assists along with 5 digs for Frontier. Jalen Sullivan ended up with 7 kills. Chicopee ends up beating Pioneer. Final score was 3-0. Jasmine Lida ends up with 12 kills, 2 blocks, and 4 digs to lead Chicopee in their win. In field hockey, it was the Franklin County Tech School knocking off Palmer 4-0. And it was senior day, and their seniors didn't disappoint in this one. Peter Saladino and Shelby Cutting each scored a goal, and the Eagles picked up the win on senior night. The Eagles did control the game, though, definitely. And how about this? They generated 18 shots in the game. Their freshman, Logan Addison, ended up finishing with 2 goals. And like I said, a nice day for Saladino and Cutting on senior day. Also, Boleno ended up recording a shutout for the Tech School. Greenfield girls end up picking up a win in field hockey. They knock off Amherst 2-0. Raquel Provost and Katie Hazelton each scored goals for the Wave, a win that was needed. Maddie Kacheski and Hazelton each recorded assists in support of their winning goalkeeper, Ainsley Flynn. The Wave ended up generating 24 shots on net, and the Wave, they have another game that'll be coming up. We'll talk about their game against Westfield. That will be coming up here on the show in just a moment. Also in boys soccer, Greenfield picks up a 3-1 victory over the Tech School. Definitely a game that was needed and a win that really helped out the Wave. They've been on fire right now. They started off really sketchy in the beginning of the year. How about they, in their first 10 games, they were 1-9. 1-9 for this Greenfield team, and they have been battling, and they picked up a win over the Tech School. Well, on Saturday, they ended up having some league play because of rainouts. You know, you got to try to make these games up because we're getting ready for postseason play very shortly here. And Maddie Kacheski had a hat trick. And the girls over at Greenfield in field hockey picked up a 6-0 win over Westfield. Big win for them. Yes, it was. They're now 10-5-1 on the year, and the Wave is 6-2 in league play. Their only 2 losses are to the Frontier Redhawks. Strong all-around game, says coach there. The offense was communicating. The defense was getting the ball out of our end, and Kacheski was definitely on fire. She had herself a wrist injury during the week before and missed a couple of games, but she came back in this one, and she had a great one to help out her team. She is a big key to the offense on this team. They need a healthy Maddie Kacheski for this team to go far in postseason play. Goalkeeper, Ainsley Flynn. Well, she didn't even have to make a save in this one. That's how good this team did in this one, and the Wave picks up the win. Frontier with an easy win over East Long Meadow. They win 5-0 on Saturday. Emily DeMaio ends up with a couple of goals, and it turned out to be another sweet win as they continue to be undefeated in league play at 7-0-1. 12-2-1 on Saturday is their overall record. Livia Vasilio also scored a goal. She was assisted by Lily Spencer. And hey, turned out to be a nice win again for Frontier. Southwick picks up a 5-0 win, an easy win for them over the Panthers. But I will tell you that the Panthers, they need a win or a tie in their final 2 games to secure a playoff berth in field hockey. So they really need something to happen this next upcoming week. And Smith Academy ends up picking up a 1-0 win over Turners. By the way, I want to tell you something. This team from Smith Academy has been solid all season long, and they end up winning. But a good outing and a good job by Turners Falls and the Thunder in the loss. Haley Green ended up with 6 saves in this one. I want to share a couple of things with you here, folks, on the show today. One of the things I wanted to share is that the cheerleaders from Turners Falls, when they were getting ready to prep for the upcoming season and had their practices during the summer, as they were figuring out whether there was going to be a football program at Turners Falls or not, the girls decided that they wanted to continue to cheer even for the Mohawk team. How awesome is this? This group of ladies from Turners Falls who have boys who play now with Mohawk wanted to continue to be able to cheer this fall. They've traveled to all the games. They even have a special white van where all the girls go in, separate from the boys, on jumping on the bus, and they have made all of the games. Matter of fact, they have been into all 4 counties because of the schedule that this Mohawk team plays. They have been all over the place. They've played teams down in Hampton County. They've played teams in Berkshire County. They've played teams in Franklin County, and they've played teams in Hampshire County. And these girls have worked very hard this year to be able to continue to cheer on the boys from not only just Turners, but Mohawk. You know, they even said that they have been able to get some really nice response from the folks up there on the hill in Buckland. And that's because the folks up in the West County are top shelf people. I love the West County. I think that they are the most generous and kind people. They really get out there and support their kids. And even when their kids are down, they always seem to still come out and support the kids. And the encouragement that they have been able to give these girls from Turners Falls who are up there cheering on that team has been spectacular. So I just want to say what a great story that is. And thank you, ladies, for the great job that you've done. You know, it's nice to be able to give a little credit where credit is due to these girls. And I will tell you that I want to mention these cheerleaders' names. These are the girls that are involved in the team this year. There's Sarah Underwood, who is their coaching team, the cheerleader. She is in her 5th year at coaching this cheerleading squad. Also, we can let you know that their senior captain is Emily Sisson. So we want to give some credit out to Emily, wonderful girl. Also, Caitlin Miner is also a senior captain on the team. And then there's squad members with Chloe Sumner and Madison Fritz, Mackenzie Gerard, Samantha Thorpe, also Allison Wheeler, and Journey Smalls. So thank you, ladies, for the great job you have done. Way to take on that role, to go up there and to cheer on the co-op program between Turners and Mohawk. What a great story that is to be able to have. Now, as we get ready to wind down our show for another week, we got to tell you exactly what's going on. We call this the Bubble Watch. And this is what's happened that we can let you know right now. Okay, these are the people that are in boys soccer locally. Frontier is in boys soccer. Franklin County Tech, their boys team is in. The team that's on the bubble right now in boys soccer is Mohawk Trail Regional. They are on the bubble. The teams that are out right now are Pioneer and Greenfield in boys soccer. Girls soccer, here's the teams that are in. Greenfield and the Pioneer girls are in. On the bubble right now is the Frontier girls in soccer. Teams that are out right now in girls soccer are the Franklin County Tech School and the Mohawk girls. In field hockey, these teams are in. Frontier, Turners, and Greenfield. On the bubble is the Frontier girls. The teams that are out in field hockey officially are Mohawk and the Franklin County Tech. In volleyball, this who is in. Turner's girls, Frontier girls are in. These teams are out. Franklin County Tech, Pioneer, Mohawk, and Greenfield. So there you have it. That is what is happening right now. Things are really heating up here with our last week as we get ready to wind down the regular season. Before we know it, we're going to be into postseason play. Right now in football, I could tell you that Frontier is the only team that is sitting in a spot to be able to play in playoffs right now. The other teams are all looking in, hoping for a few victories to help their cause to hopefully get into postseason play. For John Meisner, Philippe Simone, Allie Murphy, I'm Bobby C. For the Four Leaf Clover Restaurant in Berniston, also Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield, Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield, and Sean Hubert and the staff over at Hubie's Tavern and Restaurant, we thank you so much for tuning in to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Now available for you to view on the FCAT in South Deerfield. Also, you can enjoy this show on Montague Community Television, Berniston Northfield Community Television, and right here on Greenfield Community Television. Also, if you go to Bobby C Campbell on Facebook, you have an opportunity to enjoy our show as well. And it's great to be able to bring you each and every week the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Get out and support your local athletes.
Thanks for watching the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report on GCTV. Catch a game and be sure to join us next time for more sports and fun.
Good job, guys. Good work.